Hi, I'm John Black. I'm the CEO of Aldebaran Resources, and today we're here to talk about our ALTAR project in San Juan Province, Argentina, where we're drilling out a very large copper porphyry deposit, and we've got very good evidence it's about to get significantly larger as we continue to drill. So I look forward to an opportunity to present some of our latest results today.
Well, the headline in the latest press release suggests it's going to be very big indeed. We're talking about 950 meters at 0.6 copper equivalent. So give us an update on what you're seeing there, because there's a few other things I want to touch upon as well.
Absolutely. And as you'll recall, the deposit we have at Altar, we already have a large resource. We have approximately 1.2 billion tons at a little bit less than a 0.5% copper equivalent grade. So a large deposit, and that's in measured and indicated, quite a high degree of confidence in that mineralization, with an additional 200 million tons of inferred mineralization. But immediately beneath that, last year, we completed a deep geophysical survey that indicated that perhaps we'd only begun to scratch the surface on the project, and then there might be significantly more mineralization immediately beneath the currently modeled pit for the project. And over the last few months, we've begun to reveal results from this drilling campaign, including the drill hole that you just mentioned, 225, that we released yesterday, that are indicating that our geophysical information is very closely imaging additional mineralization beneath the pit. So the potential for us to substantially increase that resource is quite evident, and we're very pleased to be, this is the third press release from this field campaign, each of which has hit a long run of mineralization effectively right beneath our existing modeled pit.
Right. Okay. And can we just talk about the phrase, copper equivalent? Okay, because I guess lots of people do it, but it's also hard to understand, and in terms of recoverability of the other metals, it's just really helps kind of understand how you kind of develop out the project, or how other people may develop out the project if they buy it from you, which is the copper grades are from sort of 0.2 to 0.8 I've seen. The gold grades are less than 0.1. Do those other metals matter in this? Does the copper stand up on its own if you continue to find mineralization at the rates that you are?
That's a very good point, and one that's not always clear in reporting on big copper projects like this. In our project, the Altar project, the Altar East, Central, and what we now refer to as the Altar United deposit, with everything combined, it's dominantly copper mineralization. So 90% of the potential revenue would be from copper. There are minor amounts of gold, silver, molybdenum, which would also likely be recovered. And so oftentimes you'll see a copper project reported as copper equivalent, where you take those additional metals and you convert those values into an equivalent copper value to better simulate what the total value of the rock is. When done properly, you apply metallurgical factors to that. So the copper recovery is often not as high of a percentage of recovery as you do for your copper. So you need to adjust for that. Not all companies do that. It's something to watch for. We definitely do make that correction. So we report it as copper equivalent, but it's predominantly copper in this project.
Okay. And I know it's early days, and we're not too many holes into this thing, but you are finding mineralization and continue to down to depths, 1.1 kilometers. So I'm intrigued to sort of see how you go about with the future of the kind of drill modeling, etc. So it continues to deliver. It's good. I think we did a technical session with your COO, Kevin, back in April, and that was a very good session for people who want to understand technically, how you're coming at this, and why you're sort of seeing these results. I want to today kind of focus on the other contributing factors to success. So one, you've exercised some warrants recently. Tell us about that, and where did they come from?
Those warrants came from a financing. We had a 45-cent financing 2 years ago, and those were 70-cent warrants, so they were well within the money, and we received approximately $6 million back to us. So it's almost a secondary financing that comes off of a previous financing. It's quite nice for us. It filled up the till. It allowed us to have plenty of funds to complete this year. Important to note also that triggered certain top-up rights. Last year, South 32 came in as a strategic 9.9% investor in the project. They've been closely monitoring. They're not the only, many major mining companies are keeping an eye on us right now. But they made the decision to provide that strategic investment to us. which is great. It endorses the project. It gave us an investment over market conditions, which was minimized our dilution going forward. And they like what we're delivering on the project right now, and they exercise those rights to top up and go back to 9.9 because the exercise of those warrants diluted them slightly. So it's a good signal that they continue to be strong supporters of the project and very interested in the project, which helps us considerably and provides us with the funds we need to continue drilling with 4 rigs as we have been over the last few months here.
Okay, and yeah, I think it's topped up with just over 700,000 Canadian, which is good. It doesn't mean much to them in terms of their balance sheet, but it's very good for you in terms of what it signals, right? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I agree with that. So I guess the question I wanted to get to is the kind of so what bit, right? Okay, so you're finding this long intercepts with good copper grades and others. You've got 4 drills going. You've just got an additional 6 million, but I don't know where that puts you in terms of total cash at the moment. Can you give us a sense of that?
We started this month a little over 7 million total.
Right.
On it, those warrants had come in over a period of time. And so we have plenty of funding to complete the program. As you might recall, we're in South America, so we're opposite seasons. We're really into the front part of winter already. So we'll drill for a few more weeks with luck, and then we will take a short break over the coldest part of winter. So from June to September, we'll be shut down, and then we'll come back into the camp in September and be drilling by October with what we anticipate will be an even more aggressive program next year.
What does that mean? What does that mean in terms of meters or dollars?
This year we were shooting for 20,000 meters. There was a little bit of a late delivery of rigs to get going, and we've been struggling with supply chains and availability of qualified staff. So it slowed us down a little bit. We're a little over 14,000 meters now. Hope to finish up at around 15,000 meters for the program. Next year we would anticipate a program of at least 20,000 meters and perhaps more, subject to availability of rigs and, of course, funding to move forward.
Right. Okay. And so that the supply chain issues, is that still a legacy of COVID and I guess even the inflationary component of the past year or so? Was that a factor of it's Argentina and that's what happens? I mean,
a slight legacy of COVID still, but more it's the fact that every single drill rig that could possibly be working is working in Argentina right now. There were well over 60 rigs drilling just in the San Juan province where we're at right now. We're one of 5 very large copper projects that are moving forward. And so the supply chain is just naturally stretched. It's a little complicated as well in that Argentina has some limitations and rules on how importations can be made. So it puts some challenges there as well. There's a strong preference for utilizing materials made in Argentina, and they're just not really set up to produce enough materials for what we do. So it's stressed things, but we're beginning to resolve that. Our drilling performance picked up notably over the last couple months of the season, and I think we'll be well set up for next year. And it's not unique to us. All of our peers are struggling with the same issue, and we're working collectively with the drilling companies to be able to increase capacity to drill more quickly and more efficiently.
Your peers in Argentina or your peers in South America?
In Argentina, actually, a good example is that we've worked collectively with one of our neighbors to hire a professional drill specialist, an ex-Barrick person who knows a lot about drilling in the South American Cordillera and has been retired. And we brought him back out of retirement and brought him down to work closely with the drilling providers that we have and provide suggestions to them on how they can be more efficient, how they can work better. One of the challenges we face is that it's hard to get drill rigs, but it's even harder to get experienced help for the drill rigs. Drillers are in short supply. Drillers that have experience and know how to work in the high Andes, and so a lot of it is just those tricks that you learn as you've been drilling for a long time on how to move forward. So we're working more closely to provide better training, including collectively all of those of us involved in exploration in San Juan provide funding in collaboration with one of the local universities to provide a technical training institute to train drill assistants. In Argentina, there's a strong preference for using local labor, including even on a provincial level. The province of San Juan prefers that we're not hiring people from Mendoza next door. But our challenge is there aren't enough people that have the skill sets we need. So we're working to provide education to train professionals that will be able to provide the services we need. And that's working extremely well right now and is very well received by the local communities. It provides good, well-paying jobs that are very attractive to the local community, and that's improved the image of mining notably. It's one of the easier places in the world for us to be working right now. We're well received and encouraged to continue our work and hopefully develop some major copper deposits coming up.
Okay, well let's talk about the environment of Argentina and what Argentina is doing for you, because historically Argentina has not painted a very pretty picture for foreign investors in terms of doing business in country, apart from the oil and gas sector, it would seem. So, does Argentina recognize the importance of mining? Does it welcome foreign investment, and what's it doing for you?
Quite a bit to unwrap there, but it's some good examples on this. It's important first to remember that Argentina is a federation of states. So each province works with some degree of autonomy. It's not like Chile or Peru where the same mining law applies throughout the entire country. And so it's a little more like the US or Canada in that sense, that each state or province can have its own policies moving forward. San Juan is one of the more pro-mining provinces, and that's where we're located at. And including recently, the Fraser Institute just updated their attractiveness index a couple weeks ago, and they ranked San Juan province in Argentina as the #1 preferred province for foreign mining investment in all of Latin America, number 19 worldwide. So that's a notable improvement, and that's because of the steps that they're taking to encourage us to work. So they're providing environments where we have a good, fast process to be able to get our permits, to be able to move forward, to do our work. We have access to preferred rates for foreign exchange. So importing funds into the country to do work is at very favorable terms, which reduces our costs for local exploration. And so a lot of those steps are being made to facilitate our ability to move forward and move quickly. And that's why we're seeing so much exploration activity. The rocks have always been great in Argentina. The rocks are very similar to the rocks just across the border in Chile. So the deposits have been there. The challenge has been whether there's a stable fiscal environment that attracts foreign investment to develop the projects moving forward. San Juan province has a very large modern mine, the Veladero mine, which produces almost 400,000 ounces of gold a year. That's a barrack mine. And the benefits from that are very evident in the province, in both in terms of a lot of employment as well as a lot of tax revenue generated to the city. And it's well accepted by the local public that mining is a very positive development. At the national level, they'd like to replicate that and encourage more provinces to develop mining. And they realize they've somewhat inadvertently produced a situation where they're sitting on a number of large copper and lithium deposits, as well as a lot of gas in the southern part of the country that hasn't been developed because of the policy they've had. And they realize that if they change their policies and encourage foreign investment under stable conditions, that they might have a heck of an opportunity to develop a true mining industry, an industry that could significantly improve the economy. And like many countries, they're stressed on their economy right now. And so what we're encouraged by is that we're seeing acceptance from all political parties. Everyone's realizing that this is a potential motor to improve the economy going forward. So it's definitely moving in the right direction. In addition to the Fraser Index, one of the other things I can point out that demonstrates this more than me just saying that they're telling us the right things on this. Over the last year or two, we've seen a number of very large investments from major mining companies. We've seen Rio Tinto, BHP, in our case, South 32, an investment into our work. Those are all from major international companies that are not particularly risk tolerant. And so they must be seeing the type of changes they need to see to make those type of developments, to make investments in major copper or lithium projects.
Okay, so you're painting a picture that saying Argentina's starting to get it as it comes to mining and what it can do. Well, obviously in your case in the state of San Juan. That I guess that's encouraging. Can I add one other thing I want to ask you about? Again, just trying to understand sort of the makeup of how you build this company out is around the shareholding, right? You've got three quite big companies. You've got Route One with sort of circa 44%. You've got as you mentioned, South 32 maintaining the 9.9%. And Sibanye Stillwater are still in there over 16%. So you've got a lot of this of the shares tied up in those three big companies, and I appreciate the management are buyers too. But you've got 24-25% left for the public. So does that structure, does that makeup work for you? Or will it start to work for you as you continue to? You will need to. You're an explorer. You're going to need to raise capital for drilling programs to continue. Is that going to come from those three major shareholders, or is the public going to get a chance to buy more stock as it's issued?
Well, as you mentioned, we have the three major strategic shareholders, and that we're earning into the project from Sibanye-Stillwater. That's their position, and we've had the strategic investment from South 32 recently. And Route One put up the funds to allow us to capture the opportunity to begin with. So that provides a great backstop for us on it. And all three of those parties have pro rata rights. In the event that we do a financing, they can participate to avoid dilution. They've been very supportive and participated in most financings we've done going forward, and the project is delivering even better results right now. So we'd anticipate, in the event that we raise capital, then in most cases, most of those groups would likely participate going forward. So it makes it easier for us to raise capital. But that's that tight shareholding situation is kind of a double-edged sword on a situation like this. It also means that we don't have a lot of liquidity, or there's a perception we don't have a lot of liquidity. But we've had a number of shareholders be able to establish fairly significant positions in the open market just by patiently buying. So it does appear that there's not a lot of trading. But for example, we traded quite a bit yesterday on the news coming out, and we're still at very attractive valuations right now on the project. So it is certainly possible to acquire a sizable position in the open market right now. It may require just a little bit of patience to do that. And if we do a traditional private placement in the future, that would certainly be open to the public. And additional, it's healthy for us to attract additional new investors to come in and balance with those large parties. But at times in the markets that we face, having those large shareholders is a savior for us, really. So we try to balance it out as best as we can on it. But I'm very pleased. I don't worry too much about access to funds. Of course, we would like to see our valuation be considerably better moving forward. But I like the share structure we've set up right now.
Okay. Well, look, appreciate the update. I just wanted to talk to you about the news on the whole, because you continue to find mineralization. I guess people have got to take a view on the scale of what you're going to be able to demonstrate, or if you're going to be able to demonstrate scale, quite frankly. So stay in touch. Let us know how you get on with any future kind of drill announcements, and obviously we'll wait for the next drill program to start eagerly.
Yep, and keep an eye. I mean, the hole we put out was nearly a kilometer at 0.6 copper, and within that there's 645 meters of 0.7, and zones within that of even higher grades. So, in addition, this is the fifth hole now we've reported in the new zone, what we refer to as Altar United, all with drill hole intercepts of nearly a kilometer in length, with very good grades and very consistent styles of mineralization. So the implications for potential increased resource are very, very evident right now. And we've got plenty of holes that will be coming out over the next few weeks and months. So it's certainly one to keep your eye on.